Cheers to you. Welcome to Perkins On Podcast.
Yeah, so I'm Michael. This is Crystal.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about the new Lindsay Lohan movie. She's back, baby.
Better than ever, huh?
We're going to talk about our favorite Christmas movies.
We are.
You think that you can guess mine?
I am pretty sure I know at least 3 of the Christmas movies that are on your list.
All right, we'll see. This is a new podcast for us. We've done a podcast before, a couple of years ago, before we moved into this house, before we had our kid.
For a lot of things.
But basically, we just like hanging out and talking to each other, and we watch.
We love watching stuff. We love reading stuff. We love consuming media.
Yeah.
And we like talking about it. And we used to have a podcast called I Make My Wife Watch Movies, where the premise was Michael would have me watch a movie that I hadn't watched before for whatever reason.
This is not an exact recreation of that. We're not just making Crystal watch movies she hasn't seen before.
We're keeping it more broad because when we used to talk about movies all the time, we would also be watching a lot of TV shows or reading a lot of books. So we just wanted to keep it more of an open format where we'll have a specific thing that we're talking about each week, but it can be what we want.
Yeah, kind of an outlet for us to talk about what we're watching together. We're going to let you guys know what we're going to be watching so you can follow along. We're also going to put some things up to a vote if you want to chime in.
Exactly. And this week we had the return of Lindsay Lohan. So we thought that was a pretty compelling place to kick it off for 2 millennial people that grew up during the heyday of what was Lindsay Lohan's prime. But I'm hoping we're getting another prime. You know what I'm talking about?
We might be.
Cheers to you. I'm drinking a Diet Coke with lime this morning and a Stanley Coke, keeping it nice, crisp, and cold.
Celsius time. All right, so Lindsay Lohan. It's called Falling for Christmas.
You know, that's a great question.
The first thing I'll say is that Mean Girls is your favorite movie.
It is. It holds up.
I'm going to assume that Freaky Friday was important to you.
The chokehold that her fashion had in that movie, when I tell you I dreamt of replicating the green army pants with the belt with the inside out shirt. I know that probably doesn't mean anything to you,
Nope,
but
nothing.
it meant everything to me, okay?
I'm glad to hear that. Broad strokes here, did you like the new Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie? Because it felt like a Hallmark movie, but it had Lindsay Lohan in it. It was on Netflix.
So I think we have to separate 2 things when we're talking about the return of Lindsay Lohan and the Christmas movie.
Okay.
The thrill that I felt like seeing her on screen, thriving, brought me an immeasurable amount of joy.
I think we all felt good about that.
We all felt so happy just seeing her doing her thing, you know, back, you know. It felt really, really good. The Christmas movie is a whole different like piece of cake over here because that was wild.
So basically we enjoyed the experience because we're happy for Lindsay Lohan, but the movie itself is
bad.
Kind of, yeah. Or
and I love a cheesy holiday flick, and I'll say that like I will watch a cheesy Christmas movie all day long. This one was extra. It was like every single like generic holiday movie like put in like a little bottle and shooken around and then
well, I guess let me ask you this because you grew up watching a lot of these Hallmark movies. When it's Christmas at your parents' house, they're watching those movies constantly, nonstop.
They're always on the television.
I have never watched one start to finish.
Right.
So this is not part of my experience.
One of the things about Michael that I'm like, can't we just enjoy something for fun?
Sure.
I'm like, I want to watch Hocus Pocus 2. And he's like, ugh, can't believe you're making me watch this. It's like, can't you just get behind some campy holiday fun for once in your life?
Oh my gosh. You're making it sound like I'm not fun. I mean, Hallmark movie. Okay.
He is fun.
Let's take a step back here. My question is, Falling for Christmas, not a good movie.
No.
But is it on the same level as like the other Hallmark movies, or is it below like that echelon?
Oh, I think it holds up. I think it's on par with
so it fits into the canon of
I mean,
that
it might
kind of
even
movie.
be better than
better.
a majority of what Hallmark puts out, to be honest.
Yeah.
The thing that got me, and if you haven't watched it, spoiler alert, kind of, because they're all the same. It's like they have this like Santa Claus character that's like making the wishes come true. Completely unnecessary. Every single plot point in the movie could have easily been achieved through like regular living and coincidence, but for whatever reason they had this Santa Claus character like pushing things forward, and I was like, okay.
So Santa Claus is real, has magic. He's living in, what is it, Park City, Utah?
He lives in Park City, Utah, and he sells nuts.
Okay, but then there's also, we got to take a step back. So we got to get the main players here. So you have Lindsay Lohan, who is like a Paris Hilton type character, or like a Kardashian-like.
She is a hotel nepotism baby.
Okay, she gets proposed to by someone who is very
Tad.
over the top.
Tad is an influencer.
Okay, Tad's an influencer. Lindsay Lohan's parents do not like Tad.
Her dad doesn't like Tad. Her mom
likes him
has
fine.
passed.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Did you watch the movie?
It was like a fever dream.
It's like a key plot point.
All right, but so we got those guys, and then in Park City or wherever this is,
whatever mountain town,
we got a guy who is a widower. I'm assuming.
Do I need to tell the plot points of the movie?
No, this is probably good. So a widower, and he has a young daughter and his
Correct.
family. He owns a hotel that's not doing well.
No,
apparently.
The North Star Lodge.
North Star Lodge. Okay, great. So they have an interaction.
One interaction where he spills hot cocoa on her.
Yep.
Her fancy. They made up some sort of designer name, but her like luxury designer clothes, and he gets hot chocolate on it, and like Tad freaks out and is like, "How are we gonna take our Instagram pics if you da da da?"
Okay, but this is where I was getting to. So Tad proposes. She says yes, kind of, and puts the ring on, but it's too big. That's apparently a very important plot point. Yes. She falls down a mountain.
Yeah,
they
on the
both
top of the
fall
mountain.
down a mountain, actually. And she has amnesia, of course.
Yep.
Okay, but then he's lost in the wilderness for like a week, and he meets a guy named Ralph. And I thought that was Santa. Because they flash back and forth.
Maybe he was going to like become Santa at one point.
Well,
but he wasn't.
We've established
he was just a fisherman.
We've established that there is a Santa that exists.
Correct.
And he lives here in this little town. Mm-hmm. But then there's also a guy named Ralph who looks exactly like Santa and is hanging out with Tad. They're like going fishing together and hanging out in his cabin.
Did we ever confirm that they're not the same actor?
That's what I want to know. I'm asking.
There's a way to know. I'll figure it out. Oh,
all right.
My gosh.
So then the whole thing is she wakes up and has amnesia, and you get the idea that it's supposed to be, okay, she's spoiled, but then now she's having like a down to earth moment and she really likes it, and they hit it off.
Yeah.
They have a connection.
And she's learning how to do normal people things. So she falls, she gets amnesia. Of course, widow man from the north, the struggling. Oh, and you forgot about a crucial point that at the beginning of the movie, widow man has approached Lindsay Lohan's dad for capital to invest in his thing.
Okay, but there's another thing that's even more critical, which really tosses Santa's morality into play here. The daughter, the reason that all of this happens is because the daughter is like, I need a miracle, my dad is unhappy, or something like that, probably.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
widower's daughter.
She puts
there's a Christmas wish tree, and she puts a wish, and we don't see what the wish is, but we assume because Santa went like this on the side of his nose, and then the wish flew into the magical.
Yeah. Okay. So she makes a wish, make my dad happy, or whatever, and then Santa's like, all right, I'm gonna push these people down a mountain, give her amnesia, and make this other guy hang out with Ralph for a week.
Okay, so it looks like I'm on IMDb, and Ralph is his own character. The confusing thing about this IMDb is that William Bus Riley, a.k.a. the chestnut vendor, a.k.a. Santa, has no image. So who are we to say that they couldn't be the same person?
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, so they fall in love, obviously. She gets her memory back miraculously. I'll also say that this is not something that happens. People do not get amnesia like this, but I'm trying to be fun here.
I mean, you don't know. Are you a doctor?
I kind of know.
How do you kind of know?
I remember learning
Let's
about
phone
this
a friend.
in school.
We need to call Sam. What do you mean you learned about it in school? You
Amnesia?
studied psychology.
I know. Amnesia is a psychological phenomenon.
Is it?
It is. There's different kinds of amnesia. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She loses her I mean, it's miraculous. Santa did it. So
Santa
it all
did it.
makes sense.
Yeah.
She loses her memory miraculously. She gets it back miraculously. She decides she does not want to marry Tad.
Correct.
And
It's not a good day for Tad.
she falls in love with this guy, or they fall in love with each other after spending like 3 days together.
3 days
awesome.
learning how to make beds,
Yep.
scrub floors.
That's a big part of her character arc, because
and
apparently
she's
trying
trying to
awful.
save the North Star Lodge. She comes up with an idea to host a party on Christmas Eve.
That's right.
And invite all of the past patrons to come to this party. And I'm like, who the hell doesn't have plans on Christmas Eve?
But also, these are just like the local people that live in the village. Why do they need a hotel? They all live
Yeah,
there. The past patrons aren't going to be there.
I had a thought that maybe, and I don't ski. I'm going to just preface that. I don't
Okay.
understand how
You don't know
the
how skiing
resort
works?
lodge ski slope thing works, but could the people in the town have gone to the North Star Lodge to ski? Like, could they buy tickets
No,
there? Okay,
I don't think
know how
so.
it works. I've only been snowboarding like 4 times.
Anyway, so then he's all, does she give a speech or he gives a speech?
You know what? I think they both give speeches.
They both give speeches, and then everybody's like, what's his name? What's the guy's name?
What guy?
The main guy.
The widower?
Yeah, the widower. Everybody's like, hey, Mr. Widower, you really saved my life by letting me stay at the
That's
North Star
right.
Lodge.
That's right.
North Star Lodge.
They all give
that bed and breakfast really rocked my world. Here's a check. And
it
then
was
they
more
all
like, oh, you let me stay here when we didn't have a lot of money so that we could learn how to ski. And I'm like,
What?
right?
Okay, but this is the wildest thing. Okay, so Santa I can get behind. Every single person at this party gave him a check.
That's correct.
They all came to this party. Either they had to have known in advance that this was like a check giving party, or they all just had their checkbooks. That is a step too far for me.
The invitation, which we saw, indicated that this was a fundraiser to try and save the North Star Lodge. So,
Okay.
being that this is America and we still use checks here, sometimes you're not allowed to use them in the stores anymore, but people do use them to exchange money to each other. I'll give it a pass.
I do not give it a pass. I do not forgive them for this. Okay, so lovely time.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
really fun watching it with our friends.
Yeah, it was.
It was great seeing Lindsay Lohan.
I think that's what was the best part about the experience.
Yeah,
It's just nice to see her thriving.
Yeah,
I hope she is. I wish her nothing but the best.
me too.
I hope we get another one next year. I hope we get a Falling for Christmas Part 2.
I hope that she gets a real role in something else.
You would say that. Can't have fun, this guy.
5 favorite Christmas movies.
Yep.
Let's go 5-1. Your 5, my 5, 4-4. Do you want to do it that way?
We can, except for I only ended up with 3 on my list.
What do you mean?
I did my top 3.
Oh.
I didn't realize we were doing 5.
Okay. Do you want to I'll give you my 5 and 4, and then we'll do our top 3s together.
That sounds good. But first, I would like to make a prediction for a couple of movies that I think will be on Michael's Christmas.
Okay.
Movie
Do you
list.
want to do the prediction now or wait till afterwards?
Well, if we wait till afterwards, I'll know.
Okay,
So how
so
is that a
let's-
prediction in any way?
Let's hear it.
All right.
What do you got?
So number 1, I know this one will be on the list. Where it is on the list, I don't know, because I thought this would be number 1, but you made it seem like it wouldn't be when we were talking the other day. Die Hard. He always says that this is his favorite Christmas movie.
Not on the list.
What do you mean it's not on the list?
We'll get there.
You did that on purpose.
I did. When you said you were going to guess to throw you off.
That is absurd because you know that that's true.
Okay, we're doing this now. Die Hard, it doesn't matter if it's a Christmas movie or
So
not.
say it right now. Say it's not a Christmas movie if it's not on the Christmas list.
I'm going to say it transcends a list like
Oh
this.
my
It is.
gosh.
It's not only one of the best Christmas movies, it's one of my favorite movies ever. So it doesn't need to be on the list. It's obvious that it's the best. We're not going to talk about it. People are sick of that discussion. So
I don't think people are.
what are your other guesses?
Just Friends.
Good guess.
It's not on the list?
It would be an honorable mention.
Wow, I'm shocked.
I wrote it down on my when I was brainstorming. It
Mm-hmm.
was definitely there. Okay, what else?
Those were the two I got. I was like, for sure these two, and apparently neither
Nope.
are on there. So I guess I don't know you as well as I thought I did.
All right, so my number 5 is The Holiday.
Okay.
We watched this yesterday, which also has Lindsay Lohan in it for a brief second.
What?
The cameos in that movie are a little bit crazy. So she's in the trailer with James Franco that Cameron Diaz is cutting.
That's right. She is.
And her partners are Katherine Hahn and John Krasinski.
Yep.
That's wild.
That's fun. That's really fun. Yeah, I literally wrote down Michael's list, Die Hard, Just Friends. It's embarrassing for everyone.
Is The Holiday on your list?
The Holiday is on my list.
Where is it on your list?
I had it as number 3.
Number 3. Perfect. The
So
main
number 5 is The Holiday for you.
Number 5 is The Holiday for me. The thing that I remember about The Holiday, the last time we watched it when my mom was in town.
How sexy Jude Law is.
That's part of the story. So this movie, Nancy Meyers, by the way, great. Also, she did Freaky Friday, I think.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
So good.
Nancy Meyers, man, she did the Intern, which Caitlin really loves.
Yeah, my sister's name is Caitlin.
Okay, but so female gaze, Jude Law, Jack Black. That's what the female gaze is, right? I mean, I don't
100%.
know. So we were watching this. My mom loves this movie. She makes us watch it every time we're hanging out for Christmas.
She does.
A couple of years ago, she was here. We're watching it, and Jude Law is giving a speech or saying something, having one of those romantic interactions with Cameron Diaz. And you and my mom are like fawning. They're like, "Oh, Jude Law, amazing! Why can't?" And then my stepdad Henrik chimes in. He's like, "What about me?" And my mom, I will never forget the vitriol. She's like, "Henrik, shut your mouth."
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember this?
I do. And it's just, you might think that's harsh.
It was perfectly
A harsh
appropriate.
interaction
It was
between two
appropriate
people, but
in the context of the situation. They were, you guys were enjoying Jude Law. He was being very, very awesome.
Yeah.
She did not want to be interrupted.
That is so funny.
So
and
that's
it's so
not
true.
Do you have anything you want? We watched The Holiday yesterday.
Yeah, I was putting up Christmas decorations on the mantle, and that was really fun.
Do you have anything else you want to say about The Holiday?
I think it's just like a classic because it's a standalone rom-com as it is. I think it's like a really well done film in terms of like every character in there has a pretty compelling like arc that they go through, by the end of the movie everything is like resolved in a really nice way. So even if it like wasn't The Holiday, I think it would still like hold a candle in terms of like good rom-coms. Like the people that you like, the actors, like how did they get these actors? I don't know.
You got Kate Winslet, amazing,
and Cameron Diaz,
Diaz.
Okay, amazing, so cool. And then Jude Law and Jack Black, like amazing. It's like how did they get these people to like? So I think just stand alone, like as a rom-com, it's really good. And then it layers on that element, like we watch it every year, and every year I'm just like so nice.
I love the music in it. So it's a Hans Zimmer score, I think. And
he just released the soundtrack last year, actually, because everyone had been asking for it.
Really?
Yeah, so they have you can listen to the album. I was using it yesterday in my Instagram stories, which is how I know.
Beautiful music. It's a really funny movie. It's just like a nice, feel-good, fun movie.
So much feel-good.
But it really is elevated by the caliber of the people involved.
And when you look at like these character arcs of these women, especially Kate Winslet, and I don't know when this movie came out, but when you're thinking about like these two women that are, throughout the movie finding men that actually love them, but removing from that, they have like their own like personal journeys that they're like going on together, Kate Winslet is like finding gumption and like is okay like being alone, and Cameron Diaz is like finally getting over the trauma of like her parents' divorce like as a young kid. Like these are very heavy topics that they're addressing well with humor, and they're just like strong females that I think it's just a really fun flick, and I like it.
And then Jude Law is designed in a lab, so again, widower.
Yeah.
Two daughters who adore him.
Oh, I was watching a funny interview with Jude Law, how he talks about they did the like inside stuff for shooting at the cottage like in LA, but they actually shot in London. And so when he's in London, and I was watching for it yesterday, he says when they were in London he was like very pasty, and when they shot all the interiors in LA he's like super tan. So if you just like watch the movie like back and forth, he goes from like kind of white to like a very dark tan. I thought that was funny.
My number 4 is While You Were Sleeping.
Okay, so that's funny because I was gonna put that on my list, but then I was like, Christmas movie.
That's absolutely a Christmas movie.
You think so?
The whole thing happens during Christmas.
Yeah.
It's young Sandra Bullock.
But then why isn't Die Hard on your list?
You're not gonna let this go, are you?
No, I'm not. Because you did this just to spite me, and that feels cruel in a lot of different ways. I knew Die Hard would be on his list, and he was going to put it at number 1, and I said, I bet you I can guess what's going to be on your list. And then he purposefully says it transcends the list just so I'm wrong.
This is a good...
Come on!
Well...
And then he says, While You Were Sleeping is definitely a Christmas movie. It happens during Christmas. The exact argument you make for the reason Die Hard is a list, yet Die Hard is not on your list.
While You're Sleeping is a Christmas movie for sure. And it's another beautiful love story.
I love Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock's amazing.
She is one of my all-time faves.
Yeah, she's great. I watched the movie a lot when I was a kid. Always loved it. Haven't watched it in a while.
Your
We
mom
should
is a
watch
big Sandra Bullock fan. She's into all the... I mean, who isn't?
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock.
We should watch that this Christmas.
Okay, I'm in.
Number 3 for me is White Christmas.
Oh, White Christmas is number 2 for me.
Okay, we're getting to it.
Wow, we're really
Nice.
it's really happening. So I had number 3. I had The Holiday on my list.
Yes. And then number 2 is White Christmas.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me, White Christmas. I think I introduced this movie to you, right? Or had you seen it before? I know your family hadn't seen it.
My family hadn't seen it. I don't know. Maybe you did.
Yeah.
That would check out. Because growing up, we never watched classic Christmas movie. Like, I've never seen Miracle on 34th Street.
Either one?
I still haven't seen it.
Okay.
So I haven't seen that. And we're a Hallmark family, you know, so
Got it.
none of the classics. I mean, we saw like the Grinch and stuff, but none of like the holiday movies of old.
Yeah, so this is another one that I grew up watching, and I think it still holds up. Obviously, it's a freaking classic.
Yeah. I love all the music.
I get a little lost in the plot.
It's not totally clear what's like going on.
It's like first they're at like some kind of party, and then they're on a train, and then they're like all soldiers or something. They're doing. I forget what happens, but I just
The
know
plot points. Well, they put on that big
Christmas
to do
thing
for the
at the end
general.
for the general, and that's all real touching. And they sing the songs. The songs are great. Great movie.
Another Lodge. See, the Lindsay Lohan movie is really tapping into that Lodge Christmas nostalgia.
But no widowers in this movie that I'm aware of.
No widowers in this movie.
That's my number 3. Your 3 was Holiday. Your number 2 is White Christmas.
Yep.
So you have 1 left. I have 2 left. So Shane Black movies could have been my whole list.
Okay.
So Nice Guys, Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2, Long Kiss Goodnight. But the one that I have at my number 2 is a little flick called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr.,
Don't think I've seen it.
Michelle Monaghan, Val Kilmer.
Of course, Michelle Monaghan. He loves her.
Oh my gosh. Get over it. It's like a detective movie, like modern day detective movie with Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. and it's amazing.
Oh my gosh, you'll be so happy. So I asked on Instagram the other day what everyone's like favorite Christmas movies were, and someone said Die Hard.
Yeah. Good.
I was just looking to see if there are any we forgot about. I don't think this will be on either of our lists, but a lot of people said Muppet Christmas.
Yeah, not for me. I've never seen it.
I have seen it, but the Muppets kind of freak me out if I'm being honest.
Okay. That we're getting into it.
All right, number 1.
You go first.
You go first.
Home Alone.
Okay, that's a great one. I put Elf.
Elf. Elf is good.
Elf is so good.
Elf is an honorable mention for me. I really like Elf. Jon Favreau.
Yeah. Home Alone probably would have been like 4 or 5 on my list because that one is just so. Didn't they come out with a second Home Alone on like Disney Plus or something?
There were 2 Home Alones with Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, Home
and
Alone.
Like rebooted it.
There was a Home Alone 3 with a different actor, but same principle. And I think there is actually like another 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
They've just done a lot of them.
Okay.
The idea of a kid being home alone and killing criminals or whatever he does, setting traps.
Yeah.
But the first 2 have a lot of heart. The first one especially, I think, is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that Joe Pesci is in a movie like that. Because I think that's the first, like, as a kid watching Home Alone, that's my first time seeing Joe Pesci in something. It's absolutely wild, like, seeing him in something else like Goodfellas or even the Lethal Weapon franchise, Casino.
Yeah. And I picked Elf just because I felt like that was I feel like that's like the movie of my childhood. That
Yeah.
was just like, it came out when I was a kid. We went and saw the musical. Like, Will Ferrell. Like, it was such a fun story. You know,
Yeah.
like Santa is real. Like, there's just, when you think about all of the like iconic phrases that you say over the
Yeah.
course of Santa, I know him. Like all those things. It's like, it's all elf.
Yeah, I call you an angry elf all the time.
He does call me an angry elf all the time because it's true.
It is very true. And then new girl, Jess.
Yeah.
Zoe Deschanel.
Zoe Deschanel.
Doesn't have bangs and she has blonde hair.
Yep.
Weird.
Yeah, totally weird. Anyway, that's just I think that's like a really, really fun one. A couple of other ones that people mentioned that aren't on either of our lists are It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, never seen it.
Love Actually,
Uh-huh.
which is great.
Have you seen Love Actually?
The Santa Claus.
No thanks.
That's not going to be on mine.
So Just
And
Friends.
then A Christmas Story. People have that.
I've never seen that
Christmas.
either.
You've never seen A Christmas Story?
No.
They're actually coming out with The Christmas Story too with him as an adult. So
I
that would be
know,
fun
I
to
saw
watch.
that. The only other one that we haven't talked about yet that I had is like an honorable mention is the new Little Women.
That's not a Christmas movie.
Christmas is heavily
It's
in
like
it.
Christmas adjacent. It's the same way I would call Mean Girls a Christmas movie.
I was
because
wondering-
there's a Christmas scene in it.
Technical difficulties. Okay, so you were saying Little Women didn't count for the same reason that Mean Girls doesn't count.
Yeah, just because there's one Christmas scene in the movie does not make it a Christmas movie.
We're not going to litigate that today. But okay. That's our list.
Yep. Good list.
Good lists. All right. So what we're watching this week, we're going to see The Menu on Thursday.
Yes.
New movie. We're probably going to try to finish Westworld.
Yeah. And then we'll have our new episode of Andor that's coming out.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Andor, yes. And
We
I
love
also
Andor.
really want to watch that Jennifer Lawrence movie, The Causeway.
Yeah, that's been on our list for a couple weeks now.
Yeah. Bye.
Well, I was going to say we're also in the middle of finishing Love is Blind.
Yeah.
So we're going to finish that. Also finishing Bachelor in Paradise.
Is that still going?
It is.
I thought it ended.
No, it's not done yet.
Okay.
So we've got quite a bit to kind of like wrap up before we go into the new year.
And when we finish Westworld, we got to pick a new show.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, like a brand new show.
And I've done some work, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we can hit that in our next episode. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the first episode of Perkins On Podcast.
Yep.
That's the working title, so we hope you like it. We'll be back next week to talk about movies, not music. What is it? We'll be back next week to talk about movies, TV shows, books, whatever we want. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.